3 days and no severance package or health care. Perfect time. Right here is when I decided to actually switch programs and start attending Full Sail.
My wish for you is that this life becomes all that you want it to. Your dreams stay big, your worries stay small.
After I was laid off from my job, I really wasn't sure which direction I wanted to go. I had spent 2 years studying behavioral psychology at another online school and was preparing for my counseling degree and certification. Something inside of me, though, realized that Web 2.0 and multimedia technology is actually the future. And for once in my life, I wanted to be ahead of the competition, not behind them or equal. I wanted to be ahead. Some of the applications that I went through were at first very, very frustrating because I've never used a Mac before. And to be successful, I have to be a perfectionist. That's my own fault. Some would see it as a positive thing. But some of the things that I learned here were just enough to get me drenched with the taste and desire for wanting more. For my presentation, I used a lot of the music and podcasting, some iWeb, iPhoto, definitely use Addy process and the brain-based learning process. I actually began starting out with brain-based learning for my thesis topic, and then I decided to change it to the Generation Y population and what corporate America needs to do to bridge the gap. Somehow along the lines between the second one and my recent one, which you've just reviewed, I actually changed the title and the topic, and it took a whole new direction. So I had to recreate and start over much of what I have already written, and that's what you see today. But I think it was worth it, because the 4 generations, there are a lot of conflicts in work, and people are so busy with their own issues, they don't look outside of themselves and onto the floor, production floor, if you will, and see what is the cause of these issues to see how they can actually fix it. My wish for this project is to be able to provide a solution to employers, leaders, and employees and corporate trainers to demonstrate to them how other type of media, even like Second Life, as you see me here standing, can be used to teach. Something to get them to think outside the box was my rationale, as well as to bridge the gap that's found between the 4 generations. It wasn't easy because a lot of the information was on each generation as individuals, but not combined. And the road I chose was extremely curvy, and I had to figure out and decipher so much information. The research process was very time consuming, but it also at the same time pumped me up and got me excited because of brain-based learning, and then it started me thinking on a different path to take, and then I would read a couple of more pages, a couple more chapters here and there, and then I would find another direction to go into, and it just seemed to never stop. So one of my challenges was to stay focused. So I had to rewrite again my outline and just stick to that to make it make sense and match the flow, if you will, of the direction that I wanted the thesis to actually go into. The three most people that contributed to my research would be Eric Jensen and his book Brainbased Learning, Don Tapscott and his book Grown Up Digital, and then of course Mark Prensky, the Digital Immigrant, Digital Native book. And that was the road that led me home to figuring out what I needed to do with the 4 generations. Instead of focusing on just one, I wanted to incorporate all 4, because as a corporate trainer, I seen these issues happening because of simple misunderstandings. You know, it was the way the person was raised, and there's a 20-year gap between them. And Generation X being a manager of traditionalist group, and they're not able to communicate. And then the other part of this is the design process and development. I purposely started out my design with a lot of content, a lot of words on the web page. And I was making the way, or paving the way, if you will, for the visual learners and those who needed to read it in order to understand it. And then I provided vivid colors that actually sparked neurons in the brain, left side, right side, and again, this is following the brain-based learning theory, and to make sure that the presentation of the design is holistic. I wanted to reach as many people as possible, no matter which generation they come from. I wanted to be able to prepare each person who watched and reviewed the website and the videos and the movie to have them understand how easy it is, once you know what you're doing and how to use these different applications, to actually create training material that's dynamic, interactive, thinking outside of the box, and engaging, especially for the younger generation, like the Generation Y that is entering the workforce month after month. And with this group, they needed a lot of training as it pertains to working with other people. And I see the road for me ahead leading in a completely different direction. Although I'm working now after 16 months of being unemployed, I do have a job. It's not what I want to do. It's not where my heart is. My heart is more creative than that. It involves photography, and it involves videography, and creating things visually, visual storytelling. And that was one of my favorite classes. You know, I knew I had it. I've always had it. And Kathy was able to reignite that passion for things that I know are innately me. And this time, for my future, I can't tell you what it's going to be like for the next couple of years, but the end result is going to be me working in the industry somehow, making a difference for other people. It could be in the corporate world. It could be as an individual consultant. I have done that before. And finally, for the media rubric, I feel that the criteria of the rubric has been met with my project. I reviewed it several times and made sure that I was able to, in what I thought, meet all of the expectations. And I want to thank you for this opportunity. It has been a challenge, but it's been very rewarding at the same time. And this time, it's just for me. So again, thank you for the journey, and I look forward to seeing you sometime soon in the future. Thank you.